Hi, my name is Alman Ainsworth. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of A-PTV. Today I'm really excited to finally have Andrew Henderson from Aldi. Andrew is one of the property directors for Aldi, and he'll talk about the Aldi way of doing business, low prices, and value, and quality.
Quality products, low prices.
I don't work for Aldi, clearly. But thank you very much for joining and giving us insight into this fascinating brand that now has 11% of the supermarket share and is Australia's most trusted supermarket, all in 20 years from coming to the country. So it's a great story. Thank you.
Pleasure.
So 20 years ago, in January 2001, a virtually unknown German supermarket came to Australia and opened their first store in Sydney in Bankstown Airport. And then fast forward 20 years later, Aldi has 11% of the Australian grocery market share, reportedly does $110 billion of business. Might be more because you guys don't report, obviously. And you're the most trusted supermarket brand in Australia. Can you explain how that came to happen?
There's probably two parts. A simple business model and also a focus on our value proposition, which is quality products at low prices. And I think over time, customers that's resonated with the customers, so we've grown organically. And I think, you mentioned those dates. Before I came to Aldi, I was already buying Aldi nappies because they were quality products. And then you flow through to whether it's our quality cheeses, our wines, our ski gear. People have just got the message.
It's like a community.
Yeah, it is. And
in a strange way.
It's a little cult.
Yeah, what do you call the middle aisle?
Special buys.
Special buys, that people go there every week on Tuesday.
No, Wednesday, Saturday.
Wednesday, Saturday.
When I started, it used to be one day, it used to only be Thursdays.
Right.
But then we moved it to twice a week just to keep people happy.
And it just keeps going. Yeah. You guys don't report your sales. It drives a lot of landlords mad, and retailers and agents. Is that ever going to change?
No, I mean, we're a private company.
The whole Aldi is private?
Yeah.
Around the world?
Yeah. There's no benefit to us disclosing sales, and until there is.
There really isn't.
Why would we? We disclose it to the government, but the amount of shopping centre owners, or even when we do a market valuation, someone comes back and goes, you can't have a market rent review clause because you don't provide sales. And it's like, where in the Act is there anything about market rents? There's not. It's about, where is there anything about turnover? It's about market rents and comparables. It's not turnover, and yet everyone keeps going, we can't do a market rent because we don't know your turnover.
Yeah, best to keep that to yourselves if you can afford to do it, which clearly you can.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain times when you would like to give that data because we want to spend money in centres, we want landlords to spend money. So if you're getting a customer uplift and the landlord's getting a benefit, there is that odd time that you go, that would be good. But those times, the good times are outweighed by the bad times.
More than a third of Australians do their grocery shop weekly, right? Yet Aldi don't have any online trading, any curbside pickup, all these standard crucial customer services. Yeah. Yet you guys have a market share.
Yeah.
Are you going to introduce those sort of services?
It comes back to almost that first answer, simplicity. Our business model is very simple, and it is about being true to the value proposition. And there will be a time that we do those, but we're going to do them when it doesn't detract from that low price. Yeah. And just to do them for the sake of it doesn't make business sense to us. When you come back to the value proposition, quality products, low prices, you've got to run these programs. They don't just come for free. You'll have massive teams running loyalty programs and rewards cards and everything else. That doesn't improve the price of bananas. And that's what it comes back to in Aldi.
Which country has the most advanced Aldi kind of stores or technology? Or where do they test stuff when they have new initiatives?
Basically around the world. So Australia was one of the pioneers in terms of what we called our refresh. So that latest Aldi look, some of that was pioneered in Australia and is now flowing out through to the rest of the world. But each country will take on different things. So the online space it's probably been typically, the UK has got a very big online business, always has. Sorry, the UK supermarket business and online sales in the UK in general across all retail formats is
Is that
big.
because of density?
Yeah. So therefore, they've probably pioneered some of the early online days. Each country, to some extent, is out there looking and testing the market to see what can work in their market. In Australia, we're not there yet.
I'm talking about pioneering and refreshing. You guys are rolling out a new concept called the Aldi Corner Store. What exactly is that?
So the Aldi Corner Store is basically a Aldi, but smaller. So typically ranging somewhere between the 750 and up towards the full size 1500. But it's going to be carrying a more ready-to-eat meals. It'll have your salads, your sandwiches. It'll have an artesian bread range. It'll still have your special buys. It'll still have our quality produce. It'll still have our meats, but it'll then have those extra things for that quick service. So it'll have the self-service checkouts. But again, all of that at the Aldi low prices.
You're a director of property, or one of the directors of property at Aldi here in Australia, particularly in Victoria. The last leasing deal you did, what role did the landlord and/or agent play to kind of get you excited, engaged, and over the line?
Best example would probably be one that's actually just gone under construction now out at Blackburn North. The centre's owned by Australian Unity. We've been talking to them over a number of years as part of they had a Woolies and an independent supermarket. That independent closed. We talked to them about opportunities there. They went for a larger expansion, so they've added Coles and a large independent grocer. And in 2020, they came back to us and said, Aldi, would you like to, we've got space available, would you like to come in? So over a period of probably 2 to 3 months, we sat down, we worked through the plans, got a plan that worked for both parties, which then progressed into commercial terms. So we're able to strike a deal. Obviously us being cold shell, it was a matter of getting that scope of works right, but we take on all of the fit out costs. So it makes it easy for a landlord. What does it cost to build a concrete box to put Aldi in? So proceeded through to AFL, and as I said, it's under construction, and we look to open first half of next year.
But so what I'm trying to understand is, like, what information can a landlord or agent give you, present to you? What stories should they be telling you to get you'd be presented with endless opportunities?
Yep.
How do you sift through the noise?
A lot of the time, I don't need too much sell from a landlord or an agent. I want to know where it is. I want to know, is it a freehold or leasehold? I want to know the size. I want to know the zoning. And I want to know, is there specific commercial terms the landlord wants? The rest of the stuff I can do. I don't need you necessarily, or I don't need a landlord spinning about how the suburb's going to grow or something. We know where we want to be. So the fact is, when someone sends me a site, I know, and I'll make it up, I know I want to be in Richmond. You don't have to tell me how many cars are driving down Swan Street or Church Street or Bridge Road. I know that because I want to be there. So it is then about, what's your site? What are the key fundamentals? That's what I want to know.
So Aldi in Australia, you would buy sites?
We're open to all means.
You'd lease sites?
We lease, we buy.
How far out would you pre-commit to a leasing deal?
If you look at it, use a couple of examples. West Melbourne, the Lecti Crema development, we did that deal in 2016.
And is it delivered now?
It opens later this year. Alphington Mill.
How do you set a rent for a deal
You've
the future?
You've got to remember, the first year that store opens, whether it's this year or 2 years' time, the first year of a supermarket is the first year of a supermarket. You're not getting necessarily massive growth. It's going to do what it's going to do in its first year, whether that's 10 million, 12 million, 15, 16, whatever it is. It will do that this year. But if you open in 4 years' time, it's going to do around that. Yes, there might be a little bit of a CPI adjustment. So when a landlord goes, well, I'm not opening it for 4 years' time, you need to factor in. We go, no, we're still factoring in that the sales are the sales on its opening date. We're not.
But you don't report the sales.
Exactly.
So it's a one-way conversation.
It's a one-way conversation, but I think that's why you're still going to find, and it's whether it's Coles or Woolies or people who do disclose sales, their first year of opening is going to be...
Irrespective of 21, 22, 25.
Pretty much, yeah. Unless you've had some... I mean, if your CPI is growing at 3%, and you were going to do $15 million worth of sales, what's 15 million with 3% on it? It's not a lot. So where landlords think, well, you'll pay 280 in year one, and then it's 4 years' time you can pay me 320. It's like, well, no, the maths don't add up.
What's the latest technologies are starting to come into supermarket space, generally as a industry, not necessarily yours?
Yep. You're certainly seeing your usual technologies, all your online. You're seeing a little bit of that. Competitors are moving down that AI space with robotics and inventory.
Replacing
reviews,
labor.
or supplementing in those cases, because it could be something, a robot going down the aisles checking on a spill and alerting the company that there is a spill. It's not replacing anyone because you just weren't doing it, but you now have an obligation to the customer to be knowing that you do have those. But it's also better inventory control. So, I mean, we've rolled out, or we're trialling in the UK a checkout-less store. I think most retailers are playing around in that space.
What does that look like?
Again, you've downloaded an app and you walk through the store, you purchase the products, or you put the products in your trolley.
Yeah, I've seen this. I've seen a video on that.
Yeah, and in the UK, we actually have AI around the store that's actually monitoring that, and it picks up what you're putting in. It actually picks up that you're of a correct legal age to buy alcohol and allows you to purchase the alcohol.
Based on facial recognition?
Yeah, and I think that's the way things are going in the future. I mean, your question...
So you take your card, you just walk out and it charges your credit card based on what they think you
what
saw.
you put into your trolley.
What's the slippage in the store as far as things that are not recognized? Is there not? It'd be pretty accurate by now.
You would think so, to be determined. I'm not close enough to the trial. So I think you're going to see things like that. At the end of the day, in Australia, it still comes back to our value proposition. Quality product, low prices. Is that stuff reducing the cost of my bananas? If it's not, and so that's why you probably haven't seen it roll out in Aldi Australia. There's a lot of things that we would like to do and we will do, but there's a time and a place for them.